practical now. We've worked on it for years, but yet we still know that we need to accomplish more. So the idea of change then is embedded in the work that we're involved in, is tobacco control. So the question is, how do we go about creating this change? It would be nice if all we had to do was pass legislation, develop rules and regulations, and then the instant things would be changed. But that's not the situation that we find ourselves in. If you're fortunate to have a high-level leader who supports tobacco control, then you have a good starting point. But you still need to develop the vision. So I'm an advocate for tobacco control. How does change happen? How do we actually cause that change to happen? Well, having a high-level leader who's supportive is quite a good starting point. But change actually begins with us, with you. If we're going to change the situation, if we're going to change people's attitudes, their behavior, if we're going to change the social norm, that change has to start with us. It can't be just imposed on top, okay? So leadership is the key. Leadership, good leadership, strong leadership, enlightened leadership is the key element of achieving change. I'll remind you of what we said yesterday in Covey's 7 Habits, this habit that if we want to create change, we need to be proactive. We can't just wait for somebody else to cause the change. As leaders, we need to be proactive. We need to have an attitude that the conditions, the circumstances don't limit us. That we can achieve change, that we can move forward. We need to be proactive in doing that. Our good friend Joan of Arc said, all battles are first won or lost in the mind. If you feel like you can't make a change, you won't. So you need to be positive as leaders in thinking about bringing change about. One of my favorite sociologists, this is a quote, talks about change, who talks about the future. The future is not a result of choices among alternative paths offered by the present, but a place that is created first in our minds and will, created next in activity. The future is not some place we are going to, but one we are creating. Paths are not to be found, but made, and the activity of making them changes both the maker and the destination. So if we have a vision for tobacco control, we need to create that future. It's not something that's inevitable. Key to that, of course, making the change is to have in mind what you want to do. Have it too, begin with the end in mind. Covey talked about this at the personal level, referring to the fact that we need to have a personal vision, but we also need to have an organizational vision, a team vision that tells us where we're going. We changed the screens, but we lost the ability to click the slides forward. So this idea of change begins in our mind, and then we translate that into activity. So change starts with a vision. We talked about the mental creation of that vision is the first action. But the second creation is a physical creation. How do we put that vision into practice? How do we develop a path to that vision? Our friend Steve Jobs says that people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. Do you believe that? Steve Jobs is a pretty successful guy. Lots of people told him he was crazy, that you can't change the world. But, as we all know, when we reach into our pocket, his vision of a world with high enable me to sit in my home in West Virginia and talk to you directly in Pakistan and see our face was his vision. So when we think about change and what we want to do, where do you think change happens? We have this diagram we like to use. Is change something that's easy to achieve? Is it difficult? Is the change we want to make appear to many people to be impossible? Or does it sometimes appear beyond imagination? So when we talk about leadership, we talk about operating in different areas. Where do you think leaders spend most of their time?
Human section.
Aha. Difficult. How about
beyond imagination?
Beyond imagination. Okay, the real answer is that leaders sometimes spend time in each of these areas. But most of their time should be spent in the difficult, impossible, and beyond imagination circles. All right? Okay, next slide. Let's take an example that's relatively close to us. If you would like to climb Mount Everest, how might you approach that? What's easy to do? Well, one thing, I could go to the library, I could purchase a book on Mount Everest, and I could read about it. If my vision was just to learn about climbing Mount Everest. Difficult would be to actually do it. This is the first Muslim lady who climbed Mount Everest. Can you tell me her name?
Sabina.
Good. Very good. Difficult. She had to train, she had to practice, and she had to do it. She set an example for other people. What about something that's impossible? Ichiro Mori was 80 years old. 80 years old Japanese man who climbed Mount Everest. He said, I never imagined I could make it to the top at the age of 80. This is the world's best meal. Although I'm totally exhausted, ever at 80, I can still do quite well. Something that seemed impossible. What do you think might be beyond imagination? I don't know if you've seen this or not, but this man, Eric Wagner, climbed Mount Everest. He's blind from birth. Blind from birth. Can you imagine someone who was blind from birth climbing Mount Everest? Can you imagine a tobacco-free Pakistan? We have sight, and we have 2 arms, 2 legs, and we imagine a tobacco-free Pakistan. Climbing Mount Everest when he was blind. Something that's beyond imagination. Again, back to this question of where leaders operate. Again, just to reiterate, leaders sometimes operate in all of these areas, but the challenge is to spend most of your time in the areas that are not just difficult, but areas that seem impossible or beyond imagination. Good visions get us out of our comfort zones, right? If we have a vision, Lowell Lundstrom said, if your dreams don't scare you, then they aren't big enough. I would argue if your vision doesn't scare you, it's not big enough in relation to tobacco control. We need a smoke-free regulation. Yeah, that might be difficult. We need a tobacco-free Pakistan. That's a big dream, a big vision, okay? So if our dreams don't scare us, they're not big enough. We're going to ask you, and move into the second part of this, you're going to go into group work and you're going to develop a vision for tobacco control in Pakistan. Think about that when you do. good visions go beyond their comfort zone. Because that's where the magic happens. Okay? Outside your comfort zone. If it's easy to do, if it's difficult, but it's something that's been done before, but the magic of achieving something that seems impossible, achieving something that seems beyond your imagination. You have to get out of your comfort zone to do that. Next slide. Just a few examples from history that I always find interesting. Lord Kelvin said in 1883, X-rays will prove to be a hoax. Right? He was president of the Royal Society of London. X-rays will prove to be a hoax. What would we be today if we didn't have X-rays as a medical analysis tool? Albert Einstein, very smart guy, 1932 said, there is not the slightest indication that nuclear energy will ever be attainable. It would mean that the atom would have to be shattered. So where are we today? 10% of the world's energy is produced by atomic energy. Atomic energy is very important in research. But at the time, Albert Einstein, a very smart guy, a leader in the field of science, vision was that it would never happen. How about rock and roll? I don't know if rock and roll is popular in Pakistan. It was when I was growing up. But when rock and roll first came out, Variety magazine said, it'll be gone by June. All right? It's still around. It's still around. This is a more personal example. People up there, I'm a much younger guy in this picture. Annette David, our leadership program colleague on my right, and Susan McCardo, Bill Ballou from Australia, the other people on the picture. When we first started working on tobacco control in the Western Pacific region in 1998, people inside WHO, Western Pacific region, said, you're on a fool's journey. You will never achieve tobacco control in Asia and the Pacific. Countries like China, Japan, Korea, people will never stop smoking. But in fact, great progress has been made. Progress has been made throughout the Western Pacific region, which is comprised of about 27 separate countries. The Western Pacific region was the first WHO region where every country had adopted the Framework Convention on Tobacco Control. We took our colleagues' comment as a challenge, as an opportunity to try to prove that he was wrong. And I think we were pretty successful in doing it. But in 1998, it was a daunting challenge. How are you going to get tobacco control to begin to develop in a country like China? All right? So, when we're faced with that kind of challenge, it seems to be wrong. What do we do? Do we give up? I hope as leaders you never give up. Because we are only limited by our vision. We're only limited by our vision, not by our abilities. Okay? So that's why we encourage you to get out of your comfort zone, to develop a big vision. Not just something that's difficult to do, but something that seems impossible, something that's beyond imagination. Yes. Nelson Mandela, you heard we've quoted him a couple of times so far. Action without vision is only passing time. Vision without action is merely daydreaming. But vision with action can change the world. And Nelson Mandela, in fact, changed apartheid in South Africa. Something that people would have considered beyond imagination. It could never happen. Leadership starts with a vision. So the vision needs to be a clear description or a picture of the future that everyone wants to create. All right? If we don't have a vision, we're moving in lots of different scattered directions, just doing piecemeal things. If we have an imposed vision, we may have a common vision, but everybody has a different idea of what it is. If I come to you and say, okay, this is my vision for tobacco control, and we're going to achieve it, do you feel like you have a part in developing that vision? Probably not. And the tendency would be for different areas of the organization to pull in different directions. But if we have a shared vision, it moves us much more effectively and efficiently toward our goal. Peter Sage, in the book The Fifth Discipline, which is where he introduces the idea of systems thinking. You remember systems thinking? Where are the cows in the system? He says a shared vision is a force in people's hearts, a force of impressive power. At its simplest level, a shared vision is the answer to the question, what do we want to create? Not what do I want to create, but what do we want to create? So I hope in Pakistan, as we do this exercise and as you move forward, you're talking about creating a shared vision. Again, the emphasis is on we, not the team leader or not the head of the organization, but what is our shared vision? What do we want to achieve? Again, the emphasis is on shared. The description is in the present tense. Right now, this is what we want to achieve. It paints a picture, it draws a picture, and we'll be asking you to do that in the exercise. It draws a picture that tells a story. Avoid the use of numbers. Visions are usually not constrained by numbers. By 2030, we want to reduce tobacco use prevalence to 25%. That's not a vision. That's a milestone. What's the bigger vision that you're after? If it's a tobacco-free Pakistan, then you don't need to put a date behind it. That's the vision. You have milestones to reach that vision, but the vision is great. And it is hopefully a vision that is shared by everyone. Communicating the vision, good vision, is a shared vision. Communicating is necessary to turn it into a shared vision, and effective leaders communicate their vision effectively. Okay? Do you recognize this guy? Okay, that was Martin Luther King, the force for equality of African Americans in the United States and throughout the world. Hit the button again. You all recognize this quote? I have a dream. One day, little black boys and black girls will join hands with little white boys, white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream. Martin Luther did not say, I have a strategic plan. He did not say, I have a strategic plan. Was there a plan that would help achieve that vision? The answer is yes. But the vision was a dream. It's a dream. It's not, okay, we're going to develop a strategic plan. Okay? All right. That's the background for what we're going to ask you to do today. We're going to move into workbook exercises. Everybody have a workbook?